Hello there and welcome. My name is Jimmy Wikman, and in today's video I would like to talk a little bit about Confluence. As you probably have noticed, and there are a lot of changes in the navigation for the Atlassian platform rolling out at this time. So you probably already noticed it in Jira, and some of you probably also have noticed it in Confluence. So in this video I want to go through the new navigation and also show you a little bit of the new changes that are coming for the Confluence pages, since we are getting new navigation and new UI for that as well. So I think that we'll just jump right into Confluence and start looking at what we have there. So this is my new sandbox that I have just created for these kinds of videos, and the purpose is now, of course, to make a lot more videos. So as you can see, this is now a standard setup for Confluence. I haven't actually done anything with it, and just created a new nice color here just so I know which of the instances I'm actually working in, so I don't accidentally do anything in my production environment. So by default, you are probably used to having the old navigation, in which case you probably are used to having all the navigation items at the top. Now, as you can see, all of that has moved, and they are now on this angle instead, so you now have them more of the vertical rather than horizontally. So we start at the top here. One of the things that I first started to experience is I'm so used to having that little button here that will actually collapse this section here. And I struggled a little bit in the beginning to find, how do I do that now? Do I need to drag it here or how do I do it? You probably noticed that you can't actually collapse it like that. And that function is now here. So you have this one now at the top here. So if you click there, then you will collapse the sidebar. It's actually a much better location for it, in my opinion, and also you notice that it doesn't fly open when I hover over here now, so it actually is closed properly. So the only way to actually have it fly out is if you hover over it over here. So I like that you don't have to accidentally, or that you accidentally just have it fly open here. So this is how you collapse it. In the app switcher here now you have all your apps, and as you can see I'm part of quite a few spaces and other instances, and you also have the logo here as usual that take you to your home, and you also have the company hub down here now. It used to be up here and now it's gone. And in the search you probably have already noticed that the old way of searching has been completely removed, and you now have, so you actually search for things in multiple areas here. And then you have the create button up here, and this one will now allow you to create all things here. So you can even create spaces here, and pages, whiteboard, databases, blog, and smart links. And I think I should even have the live page here, but maybe I don't have it in the sandbox yet. But anything you want to create will actually be up here now. And then as usual, you have your notifications, you have your help areas over here. If you have admin, then you will have access to the admin part using the cogwheel. And as usual, you have the profile items here. So you can switch themes, and you can set your accounts, you can go to your personal space, and so on. So everything will still be here as usual. On the vertical side instead, what you have now is what you were probably used to having more on the starting page here, like what is popular and stuff like that. So recent here will show you now the recent items that you have looked at or worked with. Start as you expect, everything that is start. I haven't started anything yet. And then you have the top spaces, and then you have view all spaces. You also have create space here, so you have a duplication, so you can choose from which direction you want to create a space. And then you also have the functionality to import from other tools, which then will allow you then to, for example, Notion is one of the standard ones here. And under apps here, you will have all the apps that you have installed or that you are using here. So in this case, these are the apps, and the let me see, so I get the apps correct here now, since they have changed all the naming here. So these will all be platform apps. So these will actually be apps on the Atlassian platform rather than actually in Confluence itself. So these are apps in the app. But here you will have your automations, your calendars, your analytics, and even more apps in case you have more actually installed. So if you have installed anything, then they will also be here. And you can also see that under more here, by default, I have themes, drafts, and templates. And this entire section here, so if I collapse this one, so this entire section you can customize as you see fit. So what you do then is you can customize the sidebar here, and then you can move things. So if I want to see themes, I can move that one up, and maybe I don't want to see recent, then I can move that down. And if I save this, then my navigation tree will update. This will make things a little bit more challenging if you have a different setup and you forgot that you have done this, but just be aware that you have all these functionality under more here if you have accidentally removed it. So let me just bring this one back here and bring this one down so I can actually have the standard setup for it. So if we go back to the start page here, then everything here will probably be as you have already, that you remember it. Not a whole lot of things will be changing here for the starting page. The company hub will look a little bit different though, but I will cover that in a different video because this is a premium functionality, so not everyone have it. And so I will not go into that one right now. But I will just create a demo space and then start showing you what it looks like in a space. So let's create a space here. I'll create a space. I will create a name for it, and I will be extremely creative today. I will call it demo. And I will have a custom so I can configure whatever I want. And I want to have so only I can see it. There's no point of having anyone else actually seeing it here if you are in a sandbox, because no one else can actually access this. And customize the key, I will call it demo, and I will do next. This is where I can now have everything. So blogs, let's turn that one on as well. So now I will have everything here, and you can see that I have now folders, smart links, databases, whiteboards, calendars, and blogs. I do not have live pages yet in Sandbox. So I have it in my production environment, but I don't have it here in the Sandbox yet. So I'll just create this space. And there you have it. That is how fast it actually goes. So this is now the demo. So you can see now that the standard navigation will still be here. That one will always be here. But you will see that it will have a little section here where it cut off. And then you will have the information. This part now belongs to the space that you're actually in. So by default, you have your demo name here as you usually have it. And then in order to actually configure this one, you need to click on the three dots. And this is where you will actually have now the space settings, for example. And you also have add users. So that's a quick, short way to get to the add users. And then you have automation, content manager, and analytics, which are premium functionality, as they very clearly state here. You can watch this space, and just remember that this means that any change that happens in this space, you will get an email for. So be careful with that one. And you can start it. So let me start this one so we can actually see that's being started. And I can archive the space. So if I don't want it anymore, I can archive it. But if we go into space settings, and then you will see that we have something called mission control. And I think this is only for premium users, so you might not have this one. But you can also very quickly jump to a setting, because there's a lot of settings in Confluence and other spaces. So this is where you can actually search for. So if you search for automation, for example, then it will actually find that one for you. And if you want to search for, I don't know what we should search for, maybe themes. And then it will actually show you themes here. So it's a good way to find if you don't really know where it is, which could be the case now in the beginning. So automation, this will take you now then to the very extensive library of predefined rules that you can actually have. So let me see if it actually loads. Did it die? Ah, there you go. So you have a huge list here with predefined automations that you can just toggle on and off as you see fit. Or you can create your own here under the rules section here and just create a rule for it. So I won't dig into how to do automation. That will be a different one. And on the content manager, this is where you'll have all the information. So you can actually do different things. You can go to them, and if you click here, then you can do a bunch of things. So change ownership, for example, or if you want to change status, or if you want to run an automation on the content, then you can do that. So this can be good, for example, if you have automations where you want to check to see if there are any old stuff that are in here that you want to remove, something that hasn't been updated in a year, for example, then you can see that. And now we only have one, but you can filter on different things and you can find exactly what information you want, and then you can do a bunch of things with them. On the space details, then you can do the common things. You can change the icon, so we can just pick something from the gallery. The demo should look like that, probably. And we can have a name for it, so we can have a demo space. Demo space. We can change the key if we want. And you probably know that they have to be unique. And if you change them, then it causes a bunch of things in the database. So make sure that you don't go in and change this one afterwards. If you have like 5,000 pages here, it's a bad idea to change the space key at that time. You have an owner, you have admins who is actually part of the admin team here. And the new thing is owner. I don't know if you have all seen this one. I'm so used to it now, but this works in the same way as you have for Jira, where you can actually put ownership on a space, which was something that we were severely lacking in the past. But now we can actually have ownership for it. And under more details, you can now see then categories, description. You can see which one you want to have as home content, if you don't want to have the default one, and so on. Under analytics, and this one you can actually customize who have access to it. We'll show that one later on. So under space analytics, you have the overview, and here you will see different data. Not much here now, since this is a sandbox, and I'm the only one with the license here. But you can see who is here, you can see which content are people accessing, you can see the users who are here. So if you are, for example, publishing information and you're telling everyone in your team, go in and read this new documentation or this new information that we have, and you can actually see if they do. And so they can't, yeah, I read it. And because you can actually see who actually went in there. Now, under the General tab, one of the most key features when you create a new Confluence space is the going under features here, because we did this when we created it. And if you want to turn something off, for example, it's very common that you don't really want to have a blog, because once you create it, you realize I have no use for it. And then you can just turn these things off as you see fit. So this is how you turn on and off different features. You have the archive if you want to archive the space, and if you want to actually bypass that one and send it directly to trash, you can do that as well. If you are allowed, you can actually export the space, and I say if you are allowed because it could be that your organization actually restrict this, so you cannot export the space, so then you will not have this functionality. But if you want to export the whole thing, so for example, if you're building a guide or something like that, or instruction book, then you can actually export it like a PDF, for example, and then use it as a printed guidebook, basically. You can set some things on the avatars and statuses. So for example, if you want to have avatars on published content, then you can actually see who's viewing. So if I go to a page, I will show that later, you will actually see my little icon there on my avatar at the top. So this way you can see who else is actually there with on the page with you at the same time. You can actually turn on and off content statuses, and content statuses is a stamp basically that you put on the page. It is not super useful at the moment, since you cannot really have it in page properties and things like that. But if you want to indicate what the status is, and you're not using that one in some other way, because then you still need to put a manual label or a manual status in the page properties anyway, and then you can turn this one on. And if you want, then you can have, so you can actually have predefined statuses. So if you have suggested, and you will have a predefined, and you can create new ones with a different color. And you can also turn on and off. If you turn this one on, then anyone that goes into a page can create a new name. So basically a new status, whatever they want. And if you turn it off, then they can only use the ones that you have predefined. Convert spaces or convert pages. This is more if you have migrations mostly. So if you migrate from a space that had the old editor, and now you can actually automatically convert them. So if you are going to migrate things, make sure that you actually have this one enabled before you do the migration. Otherwise you have to go in and do it again, because they will still have the old editor. It will look weird. So this one should be turned on by default if you have any content that comes from another space. Rated content, some people love it, some people hate it. This is what shows at the bottom of each page. So if you have anything, you know, the 3 boxes that will show related pages. So you can turn it on or you can turn it off, and you can also have, so it is hidden by default, or you can have so it's shown by default. So that's what you have in the general tab. On the space access, you will actually have, you used to have, so you have basically everything in one view, and it was not very friendly or usable to actually work that way. And it was difficult to see what kind of access I've actually granted, if it was a group or a user or so on. So now you have this one very clearly defined. So if you want to have individual users and also individual apps, so marketplace apps, they will show up here. And you can also have groups. So if you want to assign groups, and most of you probably know how I feel about using groups for anything, but if you are adventurous and you want to risk using groups, then you can do that. If you have allowed people to have guest access, which not all spaces have, but if you do, you can manage those here as well. And if you have allowed anonymous access, which means that anyone on the web can basically see it, then you will see that here. You will also have a list of all the public links. So if you share something publicly, then these will show up here. So it's easier for you to actually see what goes where and who has done what. And you also have analytics permissions. So if you don't want everyone to actually see the analytics, if you want to hide it, you want to be a little bit sneaky, and you just want to say that only the admins, for example, can see, but not the users, because then they don't know if they have shown up or not if you tell them to read something. Then you can turn this one on and off, and you can also have so that only the teams can see it, but not people that are visiting that belongs to a group, for example. And you might also have noticed that at the top of all of these, you have that you can actually copy permissions from other space. This is super useful. So if you have a space that you have set up for a specific purpose and you want to create a new space, but you want to have granular control of the access, you have everyone in the users, and there's 25 users with different settings. You don't want to do that multiple times. So what you can do here is that you can just click here, you select another space, you copy the permissions from there, and you're done. Really cool, really easy. And you can also click on Restore Defaults if you want to go back to the standard. So if I make a bunch of changes here and I don't really know what I did, why or how, I can restore it here. And I can also add people to all spaces, which then takes you to the global permissions. So you can actually have that here. So that is what you can do for access. And then you have content, so you can reorder content, which is basically the old tree. So the old way we can drag and drop things. This one really does not have a bunch of functionality anymore, since you can already do that in the common tree that you actually have in the page itself. But if you want to do it the old way, then you can do it here. You can see all the pages that are hidden. So if someone have hidden something here, then, or if they don't have a parent item or no incoming links, for example, then you don't see them, they don't exist. Then you can actually find them here and put them where they should be. If you have undefined items, so for example that has been linked but doesn't exist anymore, so if you link to something, so this is basically a broken link checker, so then you can actually have that here. You can see all your attachments in one place, so then will actually show up as you can manage. So if someone is uploading something naughty and you are the person responsible for this space, then you can get into trouble. So then you can actually go in here and say, listen, don't upload these kind of files here, or if you have something here that you think that we don't have any use for anymore, it just takes up space, click here and clean things up. Trash is where everything that you delete or throw will actually end up. So if you have a page that you are sending into the trash, then they will be ending up here, and then you will have, I think it's 30 or 90 days before they actually get deleted. So then you can actually find them here and restore them if you accidentally remove them. Restricted, this is where you can see how restrictions are set on different pages and the sub-pages that you have connected to them. So then you can actually see if they are restricted to a group or whatever it is restricted to. And of course you can see archive, which is where they end up before they go to trash. So this is where it takes a little bit longer before they actually move into the trash bin. So this is a way for you to have a double restoration. So basically, if you put it into archive, you can restore it from here, and then in a certain amount of time, they end up in trash. And then you can actually restore them from there within a certain amount of time. And then in look and feel, this is where you can actually adjust a few things. So themes, I haven't seen anything related to themes in, I don't know, 10 years. So I don't know if anyone actually have any themes that they are installing or doing anything with. But since we still have this one, application server class path, which is not applicable on cloud really. So I don't know why this one is still here, or if they are planning to do anything with it anytime soon. But in theory, you can actually install a new theme, and you can change the look and feel of the Confluence section, or especially this space. Templates. When you are creating a page, Atlassian have created an insane amount of templates for you to choose and pre-select. So you can then select from the blueprint, and as you can see, there are so many of them here, so it's almost ridiculous. You can also create your own template. So these comes with, then we all have separate video for how to create template. But basically what you do is you create a page, and then you have certain, let's see, do I have, what's it called? They are called excerpt, right? No, not that one. You have specific template tags that you can use here that will show some instruction text, for example, and so on, which makes them different from a page. But in theory, what you can do then when you create a new page, then you will actually have, I'll cancel this one, you will actually have one of those templates. So you can select that one and get a pre-formatted page from that one that you can create and design yourself. And at the very bottom of this extremely long list, you will have the global template. And right now we don't have any global template, but the global template is something that you can set up, and that one will then add as a wrapper around any template that you have. And this means that you can have, for example, branding on it, or you can have specific footer and stuff like that. And you can also see that every one that you have here, every template that you have, so out of office plan, for example, you can remove this one. If you don't want to see this one in the sidebar when you create a page, you can actually turn this one off. And if you want, you can even edit the template itself. Here you can see the created these macros here and stuff like that. So if you want, you can change this one, and you can add more text to it and doing whatever you want. And then that one will be added then to the default template. I recommend that you don't manipulate these ones though, but that you instead copy them and make a custom one for it. So that's templates. Layout, this is where you can create header and footer, and for the love of God, never ever in a million years had any JavaScript here. If you do, you should be hunted down, and you should probably be tickled to death or something like that, because if you add JavaScript here, no one will ever find it, because no one thinks of going here. But what you can do is that you can add text, links, macros, and images if you want. You can actually, I think you can actually even add CSS and stuff like that here to customize things. And it depends a little bit on if you are allowing HTML in these fields or not. But never, regardless if you can or not, never try to add any form of DOM manipulation here in the form of JavaScript. Never do that. But you can very easily just add in the footer, for example, and just type in something here, and then it will show up on all pages at the bottom. PDF export, you can customize things here. 99% of the time I feel like it's getting screwed up. But if you want, you can actually add information, and you have a bunch of things that you can actually, that you need to read before you do this. In theory, you can add branding and stuff like that, but this is usually a ton more work than it's worth. So unless you have a very specific need for it, don't go there. Integrations. So you have a list of your application links. So in this case, I don't have any. We can actually have now System Viewer, for example, and these are predefined, hard-coded integration links that you can have between different applications. RSS feeds, these ones are, you can subscribe. I don't know if anyone besides me actually uses RSS anymore. But you can have it. I've never found any use for it in this way though, unless someone is actually using blogs. Because, I don't know, it's weird to subscribe on new pages or updates to pages. But if you want, it's there. And same thing with Slack notifications. If you want to configure so you actually have notifications being sent to Slack in any way. So what you do is you create a subscription, you choose a workspace, and you choose a channel in Slack, and then you say what kind of events do you want me to send notifications on. This is very easy to set up, but if you don't need it, don't set it up. And that is kind of always the case because it is an integration. And the more people that have it and not using it, the more spammy it will become and the more strain it will be on the server, basically. So these are what you have in space settings. So let's talk a little bit about shortcuts here first. So you can create any link that you want. This is great if you have, for example, a project page and you want to have, for example, a website where you actually show where you're building things, or if you have information on a third-party sites that you want to add here, then you can have shortcuts here. Some people even do it if they have Confluence as an internal tool. So you're documenting things internally, then you can have a link to the external Jira, for example, or the external Confluence that is on the customer side. So it all depends on what you want to do here. But consider this one as basically a bookmark and that you will always have in relation to the space. And then you have the content. And when it comes to content, you can actually change the view for it. So by default, you have a tree that you can drag and drop things in. You can also have this one quickly change to my visits. So you'll see the things that you last saw. And you can also have the last updated. So you will always see the latest pages that have been updated at the top. Or if you want, you can have based on the title, so A to Z. But by default, it is tree. Now, by default, everything probably looks the same. You have your writing assistant here, so that's the AI. And you have your Loom, so if you want, you can actually add Loom here as well. And then you have the standard things here that you probably expect here. So let's do a page here first. So the first thing when we create a page is that you can now select different objects, basically, that you can create. So you can create a page, which is the standard document page that you have. You can create a whiteboard, which is one of the most awesome things you can ever have, which is basically a free open space where you can scribble all the things that you want and then connect it then to different Atlassian objects. You can have a database, which is basically Excel without the power. And you can have Smart Link, that is basically an iframe that you can actually embed things from other pages. And if you prefer not having empty pages, just so you can have your tree, you can actually create folders instead. So in this case, let's create a folder just to show you what it looks like. I can call this one Demo Pages. So this one now is, as you can see, unlike if you create a page, if you click on the page name, you will actually see the page. But folder, if you click on that one, it will just toggle the content below. So it will actually not have any content related to it. And if you want, you can now rename, you can copy the link to the folder, which doesn't really do anything. You can share it, which again doesn't do anything because it's a folder. You can copy the folder, you can move the folder, you can archive, and you can delete it. So many of these things don't really apply to folder. Just so you're aware, if you try to copy the link for it, I don't know what will actually be there. Maybe let's create a new page, see what happens. Yeah, so you'll see nothing to see here yet because there's nothing in there, it's dead. So just so you're aware, these functions are still related to pages in some cases. So copy and share won't actually help you in any way with the folder. Now, as usual, you can click on content and then move it, or you can create directly into the folder. So in this case, let's just create it below because it will then be created in the tree at the bottom here. So I can create a page. And as usual, you have all the templates here on the side. So if I click on all templates, these are the templates that we looked at in the very, very long list. So you can actually pick any one of these and you can see what they look like here on the side, and you can select one if you want. So I don't know, maybe do an ITSM runbook just to show you what it looks like when you use a template. So by default now I will get a bunch of information here, and you see I can now get instructions here. As soon as I type, they will actually not show. So just do a demo page, and then I can publish this one. So now we have created a demo page here, and so now you will see a little blinking up here, and that means that this is the new functionality that they have introduced. So you can see who is watching this page. Now, one of the things that actually have changed here on this page, and you probably have seen that already, is that you used to have a share button and you used to have the access permissions as two separate functions. In this new setup, you don't have that anymore, and so you actually have them combined in one. So if you click on the share here, you will have share, and you will also have general access at the same time. So if you want to restrict this one and you want to share it with someone, both functionalities will actually be here at the same time. So that is good to know, that if you want to let's just save this one. Now you can see that we have this one restricted. You can also copy the link, you can send it to Slack, and you can create a public link. Now I haven't allowed this for obvious reasons, but this is just so you know how these things work. But I think that because I was checking now, and as you can see here, we still have the comments down here. So this is the old way, so I wanted to show you the new one. So give me a second while I switch over to my production environment. So, and this is now my production environment. You can see it looks a little bit different. And I now have a little bit of different functionality. You can see this one over here. So this is the new way that they are going to, they are trying to move a few things around. I don't know why this one still takes as much space as it does, but you have the comment sections will now show up in a separate section here. So you can actually comment here. And you also have a bunch of things. So this is the new information tab. So this one will show you different statistics. And one thing that is very important is that you have status and labels here. So if you were, in the future, if you're looking to find labels that used to be down here, let me go back to this one. So you see, you used to have them down here and you can create labels for it. And in the new experience, they are now here. So you will actually have labels here and you can add labels. So, and this is the same thing with page status, that you have them here. And this one used to be up here and you still have it. And also the emojis and the header images will still be here. And you can also, this one is also fairly new. So if I give this massive title 3S, because why not? I'm sitting a little bit weird, so that's why I'm typing like I do. And we can just add a little emoji for it. And why not have an, let's just take that one, just so we can have this one. But now I can, in the past, you've only been able to have it left aligned. But now if you want, you can actually have it center aligned, if you prefer to have that one. So some other tools like Notion, for example, have this functionality as well, so you can have them centered, and a lot of people actually love that. So this one allows you then to choose, and you can just switch them back and forth. And I will just apply that one, and I will publish this one, just so we can show you what the page looks like. So now we have this one. So if I want to comment, then you have comment functionality here. So comment number 1. There you go. And as you can see, I can now add com2. And if I reply here instead of down here, then you can have threaded reply. So now I can actually, what an amazing function. There you go, now you have it threaded. And you would think that if I add a reply here, this one will be sub-thread to this one, but it is not. No. This one will just continue on the same one. So you can collapse these ones if you're not interested in that particular comment and the conversation around that particular comment. But this one is kind of nice. You can reply directly here. You can add a reaction to it. And then it will show up like this one instead of what you have down here if you comment here. Oh, sorry. And then you would have this one here instead, and then you will have edit, reply, and delete there. And in the new experience, then you will have everything up here instead. So you will have edit and delete, and you will have resolve. It's actually interesting that you can resolve a comment here. That one used to only be for inline commenting, but now you can apparently resolve it here as well. Then it will go away, and just like it used to do in the old ways. And also, let's just double check this one. I haven't actually tried this one. Yeah, some text. Just so I have something to actually. So if I mark this one out, let's do that again. Some text, and now I can comment on it. And I don't want to have a video. You can comment with the video, but if I do this, that one will actually show up in the comments as well. So you will actually have both the inline comments and the regular comments in the same experience now. And I believe you can actually have, show general comments. And if you don't, you will have only inline. So you can have open, unread, so I can show only the ones that I haven't seen yet. You can show the ones that are resolved. And you can have bottom, top to bottom, so you would have the old one or the new one on top. Top to bottom would actually be the latest one on top. New would also be the latest one on top. Not really sure how that one works. Oh, it was these ones. Okay. So you would have the inline comments at the top if you did that. In here, you will also find if you have any files, and so you can actually see your attachments here. And if you click on that one, you will go to the attachment area to see if you have anything here. And under the, so you have the regular edit, you have your share, and you have the link to it, so you can copy it directly. And under the 3 dots here now, we will have all the other things. So you will have your star, you will have your watch settings, and this one is a little bit more extensive than maybe you are used to. You can watch the content itself. You can watch the child items. So if you have this as a landing page and you have a bunch of child pages under, then you can watch what happens below it. So this is also very useful if you have, if you take advantage of the cards, for example, that I will show in another video. Then you can actually show everything that is added below that one. And you can also watch all content. And this one is, as I said, be careful about that one. You also have the present mode. So if you haven't actually seen what this one does, then it's basically so you can make a presentation, and this one is pointless to show because I don't have any content. But if you have a bunch of content, then you can actually have this in multiple sections, so it will behave kind of like a PowerPoint slide. It's kind of cool if you want to share a long document. You also have version history, which is why this one is the tool that you need to use for requirements, for example, because you don't have version, you don't have a restoration functionality in Jira. So here you can see, and you can actually revert to a previous version if you need to. You have your automations here. So if you have set something up that is manual trigger, then it will actually show up here. And then you can actually have people automatically click on it from this view and trigger a bunch of automations, just like you do in Jira. You also have advanced detail. So in this case, it will just give a bunch of useless information unless you're actually into this one. Yeah, it doesn't really do much. For us regular people, it doesn't actually do anything. So this is a storage format that you have. In the apps, it will show if you have any connected apps to this one, so you can actually see if you can take actions based on that. You have your copy to create a copy of this one, of course. You can move this one, which is mostly if you want to have it to a different space, because if you're in the same space, then it's actually, you can just drag and drop it. So you don't really need to use the move function within the same one. So if I create a new page here, let's just create a new page. Let's call this one number 2, because that is how we do it. If I want to move this one so it becomes a child of that one, I just drag it and put it there. And now they will be part of that one. If I want to move it up again, I can move them around as I see fit. So moving functionality, this moving functionality is actually just if you want to move it to another space, because that's the only time that this one will actually be useful now. Convert is if you want to move this one so it becomes a live doc, which is a new functionality. So you can actually have people collaborating on it at the same time. So I'm going to do a separate video for that one, for those of you who are interested in what a live doc is, because it is basically allowing multiple edits. It doesn't really save anything, but it saves anyway. So rather than having you probably have this situation where there are a few people who are working on the same document. Maybe you have a retrospective or something like that, and people want to add things. And when people save, then your version is no longer the latest one that you're in, and then if you save, you might overwrite, and it's messy. LiveDoc will now take that one away, so you'll basically update and save everything as one edit, and then you can actually save it later on. So it works a little bit like the whiteboard does. It continues to save in the background, but it doesn't have any version functionality for it. So what you can do is you can convert a page to a live doc and then a live doc to a page, which makes it an excellent tool for brainstorming and working collaboratively on, and then pause it, making it a page so you have proper version history for it. And then when you want to work on it again together, you open it up as a live doc. You can also have it become a folder. So if you realize that what was the point of having a blank page, I can just make this a folder, then you can do that. And you can also convert it to a blog post. If you have a great page and you realize, I should probably save this one as a blog post, then you can do that. You can also export to Word and PDF. Word export is pretty good. It's not really 100%, I would say, but that's not Atlassian's fault. It's because Word it's messy. Let's be honest, it doesn't really behave the way normal tools do. That's just so you can pay extra for having people to fix it for you. You can archive and delete. So rather than going here and doing it from the page functionality, so if you go to, where do we have it? Oh, sorry, we're on the global one now. You remember we had a section there for managing all the pages in the space. So rather than going there and move it, then you can actually do it here, and you can archive and delete it. So that is basically the experience that you will have now in Confluence. I hope it wasn't too messy. I won't go into many of the functions like the blog and the calendars if you haven't seen how they work. And then I will have separate videos for that one later on. If you are wondering a little bit on, you don't like the new interface that a lot of people are a little bit angry about, that they are now messing around with how we navigate things, then you can send feedback here. I would suggest that you wait a couple of weeks and actually try it out, because when you first try it out, it's annoying as hell. But after a while, it actually becomes so normal that you are kind of wondering, why did I get upset about this one to begin with? It is different from Jira, because that one is a little bit more complex. But for Confluence, I feel the new navigation is actually really good. I'm still struggling a little bit with the new comment system, but that is because I am still used to having the old one with inline commenting and regular comments separated. So right now, when you can resolve a regular comment and things like that, that is still a little bit new for me. I like it, but it's a little bit new. So that was all I had for the new navigation experience in Confluence. It is very different from the old navigation system. It feels more natural to me for Confluence. Still struggling a little bit in Jira, but overall I like this new experience. And some of you are probably wondering, why in God's name are you still using the light theme when you have the option to go dark? And that is only because this one is a little bit more difficult to present, and because even though it has high contrast, I feel that it's more difficult to show things in this view. So that's why I'm still rocking the white one when I'm showing you stuff. But that was all I had for Confluence. I am planning also a video for Jira and Jira Service Management for the new navigation and for the new functionality. If you want to see either of them soon, please make a comment. If you have any questions, or if you think I'm babbling too much, I know I'm old. This is how we roll. Any comments or any feedback that you have, please leave a comment, and I will do my best to answer as quickly as I can. But for now, I think the only thing that remains for me to say is that I hope that you will have an awesome day and a great week.